All right, guys, to start off, remember, for your review for your test, it's a set process here. Let me just get it going here. Yep. Where this raised to this equals this. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means 3 raised to the x power is equal to 1 over 81. And we need to know, therefore, x equals a negative 4. Because 3 to the negative 4th is 1 over 3 to the 4th, and 1 over 3 to the 4th is 1 to the 80, or 1 over 81. Here, same process. We have 5, and we're going to raise that to the x, base to the x, and that's going to equal that 125. So what can I raise 5 to get 125? I raise it to 3. Next to, it's now x raised to that negative 5th, right? The equal sign equals 1 over 32. And I need to recognize 2 to the 5th is 32, so 2 to the negative 5th is 1 over 32. So my answer is x equals 2. And here, it's x squared equals 121, and obviously 11 squared is what's equal to 121. Okay, so every single time it's this little subscript raised to the number to the right of the equal sign equals the big number right here. The next two, same process. That little subscript raised to the number to the right of the equal sign has to equal the number just to the left of the equal sign. So therefore my x equals 49. 7 squared is 49. And then here, 3 raised to the 4th power equals x, and therefore x equals 81, since 3 to the 4th is equal to 81. Here, this is literally about just plugging it in. I'm just looking for you to plug it into the graphing calculator on Desmos. Okay, I would recommend using the Desmos calculator. 3, and here we are going to have to use the type to show the keypad, because I want to use under miscellaneous this log with an A. Okay, and it's log base 3 x minus 3 plus 1. Log base 3 start again here, sorry about that. So we have 3 log base 3, I believe it's x minus 1, I'm sorry, x minus 3 plus 1. And I'm really just looking for a sketch of that graph. So as I come here, you really should get one actual point. All right, and that one actual point, in this case, is 4, 1. Okay, we also should know where the asymptote is. Since the log can't be less than 0, x has to be greater than 3. So when I go to draw this, my x has to be greater than 3. It's important, 1, 2, 3, that my line goes there. And I want to try and curve it through 4, 1 if I can. Okay. The second one, we have negative 1/4 log 2 x minus 2, and the parentheses matter here. All right, so I have 1/4 and I'm going to put a negative in front of that 1/4. Okay, because there's a negative right here. Log base 2 x minus 2. So now I want to go to my functions, miscellaneous, log base 2 x, and since x is in parentheses here, there's no minus 2 in the parentheses. That's important. Okay, my asymptote is at x equals 0. If you notice, because the negative there, the graph goes downward. All right, and I'm going to look for basically 1 point, 1, -2 seems to be the one actual point I'd like to have you on the graph, or I'd like to have on the graph. So as I come here, 1, -2 is my point, and I want to use the x equals 0 as an asymptote. And you just really need that rough sketch. You do not need to be perfect with this. Okay. Here, when logs are equal, okay, as long as they have the same subscript, we can set these two terms equal. So as long as we have the same subscript, these two terms here can be set equal. And that's what I'm going to do. 6x plus 8 equals 12x minus 34. I'm going to get 6x. I'm sorry, I'm going to add 34 to both sides. I'm going to get 42 equals 6x. Now I'm going to bring that over here. When I divide 6 on both sides, my 7 is going to equal x. I like to plug it back in just to make sure my number is bigger than 0. 6 times 7 is 42 plus 8 is 50. 12 times 7 is 84 minus 34 is 50. Here, we're going to try and make the writing a little smaller so I can fit everything now. All right, so here we have x squared because we have the same subscript there plus 3x equals 5x plus 48. Whenever we have an x squared and we can't eliminate it, and we have an x and we can't completely eliminate it, get everything to one side and you factor. So when I factor this, I get x minus 8, x plus 6. And my two answers are going to be x equals 8 and -6. Now both answers work here. -6 squared creates 18. -6 times 5 plus 48 creates 18. The -6 is okay. Obviously the 8 is going to be okay. 64 plus 24 is 88. And 5 times 8 is 40 plus 48 is 88. So in this case, the 8 and -6 work, so you use both of them. That's not going to be the case here. We're going to do x squared, as we did in the last problem, minus 28 equals 3x. We bring that 3x over, but watch what happens now after I factor. I subtract 3x, I subtract 28, and that equals 0. And we get x minus 7, x plus 4. And my two answers are x equals 7 and -4. Now the problem is this. When we have 7 as our x, 49 minus 28 is 21. 3 times 7 is 21. That's okay. But when I plug -4 in, I get a -12. You can't have a negative number there. So my answer is just x equals 7. Whereas here, both of them work. Here, you can't use the -4 as an answer. So I'm going to cross that one out. Finally, with inequalities, greater thans are easy. It's literally just x is greater than 4 to the -3. You move the subscript over and raise it to the number to the right of the inequality. And my x is simply going to be 1 over 64, 1 over 4 cubed. When it's a less than, though, we have x is less than 2 to the 4th, which obviously means x is less than 16. But remember, you have to be greater than 0. So when you see a less than, your answer has to be a range of numbers. While my x has to be less than 16, it still has to be greater than 0. So that's my answer there. Greater than, it's just one step. Same deal here. A greater than sign with the same subscript. Pretty simple. 7x minus 2 is greater than 2x plus 13. And we just saw from there, 5x is greater than 15, x is greater than 3. But when it's less than, we've got to be careful. Okay, this right here, whoops, should be 3 actually. So let's make that change. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so here we have 6x plus 8 is less than x plus 28. The solving is still basic enough. Okay, we're still going to just solve it for x, or solve the inequality for x. So I subtract x, I get 5x is less than, subtract 8 on both sides, I get 20, and x is less than 4. But I have to make sure 6x plus 8 is still greater than 0. So you need to do 2 extra problems here. Subtract 8. When I divide both sides by 6, I get negative 4/3. I reduce that in one step. And I got to be aware of this one here. X plus 28 also has to be greater than 0. So x has to be greater than negative 28. When you have two greater signs like this, you take the bigger number. So my answer is going to be negative 4/3 less than x less than 4. And that's your review for your test.